In tone deaf news.
Oh, that was a lovely song.
You were still on key.
That was better than Fergie.
That was hella good.
Yeah, it was actually.
Submitted by Love from Wakanda.
Huh?
Wakanda. Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther.
I
Right?
haven't seen it yet.
I
Wakanda forever.
want to see it.
A group of third graders are selling AR-15 raffle tickets as a fundraiser for their baseball team. What's a AR-15 raffle?
So if you win it, you win an AR-15?
Yep.
What
What
the fuck?
state?
Missouri.
Missouri.
This
How-
is
Black Rain Gun Raffle.
Raffle tickets are $5 or 5 tickets for $20. Thank you for your support.
Bobcats.
So this is the gun.
Black Rain Ordinance.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
15.
The SB Tactical brace. I like that one.
I knew you guys would enjoy this photo.
It got some good parts on there.
Okay.
And it has an EOTech sight on there, red dot, Magpul.
This thing alone is like a shit ton of money by itself.
What if we're all looking at this wrong and they're just giving you that poster?
Oh, it's just the poster you can hang in the room.
And you're assuming you get a gun.
Then this would not be news.
Yeah.
But to put it into perspective,
But
that's
you
like
know the
a
news does dumb shit.
that's like a Mercedes of rifles though. It's pretty good.
Oh.
At least like Beamer, like Lexus. It's pretty nice.
So it was a nice donation by whoever donated it, but tone deaf because of.
Exactly, because the recent shooting.
Oh, it's not good to do that right now.
No. So the recent shooting that happened in Florida.
Well,
the
there's
gunman
a
used
bunch.
or the same type of weapon.
You know what the problem with like combining the two and like kind of like tying them two together? In America, there's only like couple of rifle systems. So if whether you do good or bad, like the police use the same thing. The bad guys are going to use the same thing. So I don't like it how they tie one thing and they give this whole thing like a bad name. It's like the computer hacker used an iPhone. It's like motherfucker, everyone has an iPhone. Of course, I'm gonna use an iPhone. But now you give iPhones a bad name.
No, I think it's because that shooting thing just happened.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, how the fuck did he get it? Why was it so easy?
So are
And
they
it's
saying that if it was a different rifle, like if they gave away like an AK-47, they wouldn't be as pissed?
I think they're saying not to give away a rifle.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly
I'm missing the
what it is.
point.
Third grade baseball team. Like it's like kids
Guns in schools.
shooting.
Wait, so is it adults that participate in the raffle and then they get the gun, or is it the kids that are gonna win the gun?
That's a good question, but I'm assuming it would be adults that would get the gun.
And I'm also trying to stay open-minded and be culturally sensitive. So I don't know how it is in Missouri, but there are states where there are elementary shooting teams because it's a sport. So if that's the case, it's like giving away a basketball too. So I don't want to like jump the gun and just judge them for this.
I think it's a lot like giving away a basketball.
Yeah, they did mention that they've been doing these rifle or like gun raffles for the teams and for many years.
Yeah, see?
So they're just saying like it's normal for them, but then based off of just what happened recently, that's why they're saying that this is just tone deaf.
I don't know, man. There's 300 million guns in America. Like, the idea being that we should be seeing so many fucking shootings, it's insane, but we don't. But they always meme it up in the media whenever something like this happens. Everybody with an AR-15 now has to feel like shit about themselves.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I was kind of part of that school shooting today. Like, I don't like any of that
Did
shit.
you see that video that went around of the guy that sawed apart his rifle? Because he was saying that he owns this one gun, but like he could easily get rid of the gun and sell it, make money off of it. But then what if later on down the line, someone's kid gets a hold of the gun, or like that gun ends up killing someone else? He's like, I can't.
That's fucking stupid.
We could what if all day.
Because if he was a responsible gun owner, it'd be locked up in a safe and no one would ever get a hold of it.
Right, but he was just saying, from what I gathered from that video, he was just saying like,
If I was ever irresponsible.
no,
He has a right
he's
to
just
do
saying,
whatever
like,
he
there's
wants.
one less gun in the world. Yes, there's millions of guns, but at least my gun won't be responsible for.
Well, that makes him feel comfortable.
It's virtue signaling fucking shit, man.
It makes him feel
He did it for the
comfortable.
meme, for like the Instagram post or the Facebook post. I get it that it's his real feelings and shit, but the impact is fucking zero.
It's like me having like, let's say I had like coffee or something. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna destroy this cup so it doesn't give someone else caffeine withdrawal. It's like, yeah, someone will just grab another caffeine thing. Like it has no impact whatsoever.
He's probably trying to start the impact where like other guys will go, okay, well let me saw my AR in half. By the way, like I can't do that because that's a lot of money.
Well, most people just go like, you know, they get home from work or school or whatever the hell. They turn on the TV and they see something terrible happens on the news.
Right.
And then the way the news is talking is like, well, hey, just because I like have a gun, now I'm a piece of shit gun owner. I'm killing kids is what they're making it sound like. It's crazy.
That's the part that kind of gets me like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Yep.
I talk a lot of shit on JK News, but at the same time, what I actually do in real life is I do all the legal shit. I'm a fucking really square guy. Why am I demonized for having this hobby?
Because of the news, like you were saying, and they do it every single hour, and they show the same shit over and over, and then they have the witnesses and they have the testimonials, and it's like, yeah, my kid died, and they just make it so bad.
You would think that
like
we,
brainwashing.
like as an American, you would think that we've all somehow seen gun violence, like in our neighborhoods or in our lives,
I
like,
have,
or
for
like
sure.
all the time you see. Right. But I'm just saying the amount of gun incidents compared to the amount of guns that are owned it's like nil, man.
It's like negligible.
It's statistically fucking crazy small.
The way that they blow it up, that it seems like it's a big thing.
And even the way that they classify what a school shooting is they change the parameters for that, which is why all of a sudden it looks like school shootings are going up. Because if an incident with a gun happens and like it's like 3 or more or under people are involved, they consider that now
A school shooting, a massacre, or whatever. Yeah.
whatever the hell it is.
shooting is 4 or more people.
4 or more people, right? And they changed that because it used to be more people than that. But as long as like there are that many people somehow involved with it, doesn't even mean they die necessarily. It's like if they are hit.
So it could just be like some kids shooting as like gangs or something or whatever, but they call that like a massacre.
They don't give a shit about that though.
I do
That's all
think
part
school
of the plan,
shootings are
man.
fucked up, though.
Chicago is like there's 23 killings like a weekend in Chicago from gun violence, and nobody gives a shit. But when white people get killed in Florida,
It's a big fiasco. Yeah.
fucking everybody got to get rid of their guns now.
Yeah.
Say you're a woman, right? And
Just say I was.
let's pretend that you're a woman.
Let's pretend for a minute.
Because you're just one of the guys to me.
Yeah.
If I'm an attacker, there is nothing in the world that more equalizes you to me than you having a gun. You having the ability to put me down, to stop me.
Yeah.
But because something happened in Florida that is fucked up and that we all think sucks and that we all hate and we all abhor, and if anything, I would love to have heard that kid got killed on his way in, like not getting hurt as
By a
well.
security guard.
By a security guard with a gun or somebody.
Yeah.
But because of that, you now have to have your potential like equalizer taken from you. Because it could have been used somehow in a terrible way somewhere down the road. I don't like it.
What are you guys' thoughts on the counter argument there, where they're saying that more people with guns don't necessarily equal more safety? Because there's this one instance that I read.
That's not even the counter argument, though.
No, well, hold on. So this one instance happened in Walmart, right? There was a gunman there. There were other customers there that had guns, and so they started trying to get a hold of the situation. But then once police got there, it took way longer to figure out who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, because everyone had guns, and then that just ended up, I think the gunman got away or something. But yeah, like instances like that, that's what a lot of arguments are being brought up right now, where they're saying, well, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, there are also instances where like somebody was about to shoot up. I can't remember
Movie theater
exactly what it
or
was.
school?
Or like
Movie theater.
that church shooting. That guy got shot.
Right. The guy took him out.
Yeah.
They're so isolated incidents. It's not gonna make sense for 300 million people.
Yeah, you
It'll
can't.
never
You just
happen.
can never
It'll never
generalize like
happen.
that.
One of the arguments that I hear from mainly like California city people, right, is why do we need a gun? Why do we need a hunt? Why, like, it's not an everyday thing that they need. But say that to the Arizona cattle rancher that lives by the border and has to deal with cartel people on a daily basis that come in and fucking go into their towns, and like it's the wild.
And when they call the cops, it's so spread out. It takes 30 minutes for them to come. Give me a break. Plus, don't we hear in the media all the time we can't trust police because police are racist? You can't trust a cop necessarily. Well, now, okay, let's give the cops all the weapons and then we can't protect ourselves and our communities. Like, this is the kind of shit where I'm like, it's a fucking logical fallacy. It makes no goddamn sense.
How long does it take the cops to come? Like 10 to 30 minutes.
And then when the cop comes, can you trust the cop? Because we're told in the media you can't necessarily do that.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, we should take all guns away from, say, minorities, say women.
Yeah.
We'll trust the government to do it and the police to do it. But don't we also criticize them all the time because they can't do it?
Right. I have a friend who's a volunteer police officer for the state of New Mexico. So he lives out here in California, but he's a volunteer officer. He goes there seasonally to do some cop work because they have a low amount of, like, I guess, officers in the towns by the border. And he says that the safer thing for them to do is just let the cartels drive through, because guys, if they pull them over, These guys are just armed.
They're like the military.
Yeah,
thing is that-
they don't care. So if the cops can't do that, imagine being like a regular citizen. And then people ask the question, why do you need an AR-15? Because you don't understand that there are people in the U.S. with real threats and dangers like that.
You don't know who's coming through your door any more than they know what you have either.
Yeah.
To me, it's not necessarily your right to know what I have. As long as I'm not saying like everyone should have fucking bump stocks and all this shit. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm down with them banning that shit.
Right.
Like it should be like you hold down the trigger and it's like,
No one needs a fully auto. Like they don't even use that in the military. No, it's impractical, right? So that makes sense. But also, when people make this argument and go, okay, why do you need 30 rounds? Well, what if there's 10 people breaking into your home? Like people assume that it's gonna be one burglar or like one person coming in, and you only need 10 bullets for that. And it's like, how can you be so sure?
People that haven't been in a gunfight, they don't know that the average is 6 to 8 bullets per person.
My whole thing is this simple, right? If you wanted to go get cocaine right now, could you?
100%.
It's illegal though.
Yes.
So, okay, let's say guns are now illegal. Well, there's 300 million of them out there. So now you created a black market for guns that is like gonna be fucking $1 billion industry.
How do you confiscate all of that?
You can't.
Because they did that in Australia, and that's one of the arguments that I hear is in
But Australia's
92.
an island.
Yeah,
you
in
can
90.
control the ships, you can control the airplane like
Well, they can't
flow,
even
but we
control-
have Canada and Mexico. You can't control our land. You can't get the gun. You can't pick
Right.
up our guns and take them.
You have to zoom in on the Australian statistic too, to find a correlation between them confiscating guns and that gun violence went down. Because what actually happened was that the violence it had an uptick, and then it continued the 30-year trend down. It was already trending down from the way that society had evolved and people were moving into their own communities and everything was like getting better and better, and so there was less gun violence. And so when they banned guns, it was after an incident, then there was a slight uptick, and then it just continued its way down. So we don't necessarily know that means, oh, because they outlawed guns, now we know that it all went down. Like that's not true. Like that's not a fair
It's
thing
not
to
causation.
say. They don't know. Right, they don't know.
It's so complicated because it's been a part of just U.S. culture and history for so freaking long. You know, a lot of people that want this nationwide ban to happen, like, I don't really think they understand the depth to how deep this is.
Well, a lot of these same people, it's public figures, celebrities, all on Twitter, right? They have armed guards. Like, they have, like, people who protect their gated homes and shit.
Yeah.
But then the rest of us, like, they actually need that, is how they feel, because they're celebrities. The rest of us, we don't need to protect ourselves the same way, because it's bad for the world. But, like, of course, these mighty people from on high can protect themselves however they want, with the same guns that we want.
I'm also for a ban or for more laws if they're specific. If they're not these general blanket statements, we gotta ban guns. Because I've never heard of a happy person killing a ton of people. It's always like someone that wasn't mentally stable with a gun.
Someone on medication for antidepressants or whatever.
It's the person behind the gun. And so if you're just banning the gun, it doesn't really solve the problem. They're gonna get their hands on a bow and arrow, crossbow, or
A
something.
van.
A van. They're still gonna kill motherfuckers.
Fertilizer, they can make bombs, like, give me a break.
But if you can make it harder for people that are mentally unstable or that are prone to violence to get a gun, I'm all for that. I'm for solutions that actually make logical sense rather than just,
Why not have armed guards in schools? Why the hell not?
Yeah, why not?
I think that's a great idea.
because it ruins the landscaping, I guess. To have like an elephant and then have a guy like looks all swatted out.
Right.
But I'm for that. Or metal detectors or whatever the case may be.
Both.
People make the argument too that Japan is a super safe country and they don't have guns. And I'm like, well, have you been to Japan and have you seen how the culture is? It's totally different.
Everyone lines up at the escalator. They already know what to do. Yeah.
So it's different because in a place like US where you have unarmed people robbing you, jacking you, fucking jumping you, it's like, this is a different culture.
Yeah.
This is a place where I feel unsafe.
And antidepressants are numbing the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
We have Black Friday where people jump each other to get a fucking deal on a VCR and they can't even stay in line in an orderly fashion. In Japan, anytime there's a group, they already start forming a line on the right side. It's very orderly. I don't think you compare the culture like that.
When fucking Fukushima happened, the mafia there came with truckloads of water to support people.
I wish the Crips did that.
I know, right?
Give everyone Red Bulls.
They can't make that argument and say like, well, there's no guns in Japan. Well, it starts with the people too. If I felt safe here and I felt like culturally it was just a totally different environment, I'd be like, fine.
But a lot of these people on Twitter and shit, like they're chilling in sweet mega mansions, dude. They're protected as hell. And like even my friends of mine who are anti-gun and they want all the guns to be taken away from people, they live in great communities in fucking Beverly Hills. Like they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't worry about a bump in the night or a break. You know, if their window breaks, they think a bird flew into it.
Oh, it's that pelican again.
I mean, we live downtown, like right next to Skid Row, and I don't necessarily always feel safe, but I don't really like the amount of guns that we have. I just know there's nothing that we can do about it. But I do think that there should be more laws, and just we need to probably round up and melt down some of these really dangerous ones.
I'm cool with whatever the specific legislation is to be discussed. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
It needs to be specific. That's the thing.
Like the bump stock thing, I'm like, yes, let's get rid of bump stocks. They didn't.
For example, like people don't know how to
automatic
differentiate what is dangerous and what isn't. So a lot of it is cosmetic. Most people will look at it and say, that's a dangerous looking one. That's an assault rifle or whatever. But it could have the same.
It's single shooter, dude.
Yeah, it could be the same thing as a hunting rifle.
Even the name of it is fucking
AR-15.
Well, assault rifle.
It sounds like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? That's so weird.
But really, it's just a majority of it is just cosmetic. And it just looks cool.
And the media blatantly lies about this shit.
Yes.
They make it sound like if you just hold the trigger down, it's going da 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 da, and that's not the case. That's not what it does.
It doesn't do that at all.
And like, let's say you ban all guns, right? And then you have someone that's like hella premeditated, like this guy. He's been planning for years, whatever. He can master the bow and arrow, literally, and probably shoot off more arrows than he can bullets. So like, what do you do then? So I still feel like it's more in the mental health, where we need to keep people that are mentally unstable away from weapons rather than focus on the weapons themselves. Because then the crossbow hanging out at Big Five isn't doing jack shit. It's just chilling there.
Yeah, I mean, the gun thing, school shooting thing is only happening more now because of the media attention, probably. So it's
That
all the
too.
copycat people. So like before,
They just want to be in.
You know their name. They're treated like fucking like anti-heroes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
know
you
everything
know
about
everything
them.
about them. The day, like the night of.
I mean, we've always had a lot of guns, right?
By the way, the FBI like visited this kid, or like, I'm sorry, he said he wanted to like be the next great school shooter on a fucking YouTube video.
Yeah.
Nobody looks into it.
Yep.
The media can find. Do you remember some kid made a meme? They made like a meme of Donald Trump like suplexing like CNN or something, and they fucking doxed this kid. They found the kid. They found out who he was. They made him apologize. But the FBI couldn't find a guy in a YouTube comment who used his own name.
Oh yeah, that's true. I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, how do you know? I mean, people troll YouTube comments all the time.
No, but they were called.
Like, why is he needed to
No,
be?
So
The
they
YouTuber
were
himself
contacted.
called
They
FBI
called
to
him.
report it.
And the FBI didn't do shit.
No.
That's the thing that is disturbing. Not to mention, the police visited this location, like the kid's house, like 38 times or something.
They don't ever examine the flip side. So for example, we have driver's ed in high school, right? Imagine there was like guns ed in high school, where everyone is taught to handle firearms in a very safe way. If you pick up a gun, any rifle off the ground, you feel very confident, you know how to use it. Then I think we have so much more awareness. We're not going to view this as like this threat, and I think then we would have a different approach to guns. Because when we have like driver's accidents, we don't try to ban all cars.
Nobody,
Yeah.
ever.
The way that they're fear mongering, I'm opposed to it. I think if we can all just be more educated about it, then we'll make more sound decisions rather than.
Even during drunk driving, where nobody tries to ban alcohol. What happens when drunk drivers happen, right? It's like a drunk driver kills people, and then every single time, like it's like don't drink and drive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why can't it be this specific with this? Why does it have to be ban all the guns?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm cool with people who are like, hey, I want gun, like you were saying, right? You're like, I want specific legislation. Well, what is it? I want to hear it.
Then we can have a real conversation on what parts of the gun should be modified or what shouldn't. Just to make people happy, what politicians do is they put all these unnecessary things on the gun, or like it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change it at all.
Yeah, like hollow sights, we're banning hollow sights or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a bullet button or whatever, and it's like, what does this do? It doesn't change it.